Going to take a quick break and talk about Drizzly. Drizzly is fantastic. It's the most convenient way to buy beer, wine, and spirits with delivery to your doorstep. And get this, under 60 minutes. It's insane.
Yeah, I think what's also great is you can compare prices and shop different places and get your best deal.
And you're shopping and you're doing a lot of cooking during the holiday season and you're all busy and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I need that bottle of wine.
Wrapping presents and you don't want to have to take time to run to the store.
Or you forget a gift.
Yeah.
And you get delivered real quickly. Here's the way to do it. You download the Drizzly app or go to drizzly.com. That's DRIZLY.com. And Drizzly is giving every new customer $5 off their first order. What's that promo code, Seton?
FAST5 at checkout.
FAST5 at checkout. It's drizzly.com.
Hello, this is Discover, and we take customer service very seriously. We know that if you have a question or concern about your credit card, that's a serious matter, and you need to talk to a real person about it. So we offer around-the-clock access to seriously talented representatives in the USA. Again, it's a serious endeavor. The only funny thing about it is Bob. If you call us and Bob answers, you're in for a treat. Get 100% US-based customer service and talk to a real person day or night. Discover. Exceptionally common sense.
Impact of Influence. The tragic story of a powerful South Carolina family and the mysterious deaths that they are linked to. Hello, welcome. I am Matt Harris. Seton Tucker, seated across from me. And we're going to get into bond hearings and big new charges against Alec Murdaugh. And we're going to be joined by our legal analyst, John Snyder, in a few minutes. And Seton, you want to mention something?
Yes, there's a fundraiser for Sandy Smith, who is Stephen Smith's mother. And they have a Facebook page called Standing for Stephen. And you can link to their GoFundMe from that page.
Also, we would like to mention, even though Seton doesn't want us to mention, because he's always afraid when she's on TV, and you shouldn't be. You're awesome. Oxygen is having a special on the 12th of December. We are interested to find out what will be on there. They recorded hours and hours and hours, 20 hours of footage. And in this 2-hour special, we don't know if we'll be on the cutting room floor, although we are in the trailer. And you can check it out on Oxygen at 8 o'clock. It is called Alec Murdaugh, Death, Deception, Power. 8 o'clock on Oxygen. The host is Troy Roberts. So check that out and let us know what you think. Ugh, that's scary to ask. But you can find us, of course, on Murdoch Podcast on Facebook and murdochpodcast.com. Okay, we'll get into the bond hearing and other charges against Alec Murdaugh in just a few seconds, but let me set it up. We've got our legal analyst, John Snyder, with us. He's a former DA, former defense attorney, and he has been on many episodes with us, and y'all seem to love John. Some more with John here in a couple of minutes. Let's start with the bond hearing, which is supposed to happen the day of this show being recorded on December 10th, but it has been delayed until next week, because the statewide grand jury has indicted Alec Murdaugh on 21 new counts of financial crimes and 48 separate charges totaling $1.3 million. Now, you combine that with the charges from November, it's over $6 million right now of alleged missing money.
Oh, wow, that's crazy. That's a lot of missing money. So I want to talk about the charges. We have 9 counts of breach of trust with fraudulent intent, 7 counts of computer crimes, 4 counts of money laundering, and 1 count of forgery. And so we know that the feds are investigating, but I'm just kind of wondering, John, what you think about when they might get more involved.
My take on this, since they are actively involved with local law enforcement, is that they're going to wait to see what happens in these state court actions. Do they plea out? What kind of sentencing is he given? Does he go to trial and potentially win? They're going to just hold on to their own set of aces. With each set of indictments, the potential federal violations are clearer and clearer. For every conversion charge, that's a taxable event for Alec. And if he didn't pay taxes on it, which he probably didn't since he didn't pay his clients either, those are easy to pick up federal charges that he's going to be staring down but they may take a pass if he's put away for life. They're probably just not going to deal with it because they've got other things to go do.
Exactly.
So I want to talk about some of the indictments. The Island Packet reported that one of the indictments was against a longtime family friend.
He showed no mercy on friends or people he didn't know, allegedly, because he went after the Satterfield kids' money. So Satterfield's a part of the family. This deal was his friend was supposed to receive $85,000 in settlement money. That was in 2018. It was supposed to satisfy a medical insurance lien, but went into his personal bank account from the law firm's client's trust account. And of course, all alleged. But John, we had talked months and months and months ago now about how I believe you said that's like the one deadly sin of attorneys is to touch trust money. How'd this happen? How could it happen?
So that's part of the law firm resolving things so quickly with the Satterfield family. That will be part of probably settlements with each one of these new claimants where this is conjecture, but the case is settled. He says to client, we're going to put this in a structured deal so you'll get paid every year. And he gave him some excuse. And then he took that money and wrote it to the Forge account.
Right.
And so I think that speaks to his true criminality as opposed to the law firm being complicit, because they have nothing to gain. I mean, literally the whole law firm would lose their law licenses forever and ever. So I don't think the law firm was in on it. And I don't think that they would miss it if he's cooking the book. So obviously, like, they're going to see the company's name and be like, okay, that went to a structured settlement. That's fine. When in fact, it went to his personal bank account that he set up. That's going to be the stuff that ends up really, it's the easiest and the worst thing that so far he's been potentially accused of, because you've got every lawsuit he's been involved in probably the last 20 years where this may be just how he did his business. So people for years have just been like, oh, it was great. He got me $20,000. It's like, okay, what they don't realize is that he actually got him $220,000 and he kept the $200 for himself.
I want to mention something real quick because you mentioned Forge, and for those who have been following along, he deposited the money that he was getting allegedly from these people, from the insurance companies, I should say, and he had opened this personal account under the name Forge, which is actually the name of a real respected service that South Carolina lawyers use to structure large settlements. He did that intentionally, and if you see Forge, if you're just looking at the check in the law firm, or whoever's in charge there, you're going to be like, hey, it's Forge again. They're a real thing, but he was tricky and he was using Forge and making it his own personal account. So I wanted to point that out. Okay, go ahead, Seton.
Well, let's talk about some of the other allegations. There was one where he told a client that he wasn't going to charge his fees because the recovery was so small. It was only $30,000, but the actual amount was $180,000. So, he pocketed $150,000 off of this, where he used to pay off a credit card bill, pay family members and associates.
In another claim, Alex told his client that he spent $100K of the settlement funds on an accident reconstruction, but the money went into the Forge account, the fake Forge account. The charges describe multiple other situations where he stole money from clients and used it as his own personal use, and multiple counties were involved as well.
So, John, do you think PMPD could still be in some hot water for this?
I think they could be in tepid water, but look, if somebody wants to do bad, they'll figure out a way to do bad no matter what. And so they could have every safeguard in place, but if his true intention is to steal money, he's going to figure out a way to do it that might beat all the auditing checks that they might have in their at their disposal as a law firm.
Let's take a little break before we go any further. I want to welcome a sponsor. It's Founders Federal Credit Union, Seton.
Looking for the perfect home for you and your family? Nervous about monthly payments? Don't be. With a mortgage from Founders Federal Credit Union, you'll get low rates up to 90% financing and pay no private mortgage insurance.
And for a limited time only, receive their discounted interest rate without paying the 1% fee. Nice. With many loan options to choose from, like first-time home buyer, military mortgage, and 15, 20, and 30-year fixed rate options, as well as various adjustable rate options. You can choose the mortgage that fits your lifestyle and your budget.
Relax with the mortgage from Founders Federal Credit Union. Meet with one of the experienced mortgage loan officers at any of their more than 30 locations or apply now at foundersfcu.com/mortgage. Founders is a federally insured by NCUA and is an equal housing lender.
Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all loan types are eligible for promotional interest rates. Promotion ends on February 28, 2022. Institution NMLS ID number 410646. So let's move on to the bond hearing that was supposed to happen on the day of this recording, and it was going to happen in front of Judge Allison Renee Lee. She was handling this bond hearing. Previously, everything in front of Judge Newman, but neither here nor there. John, do you think when it comes down to it, he is going to get bond, that Alec is going to get bond?
As you guys are recounting the facts of the latest round of indictments, I'm not sure he's going to get bond ever at this point. It's really one of these things where, you did a bad thing. You shouldn't have done that. Let's let the court system work. The next round of indictments, like, you did a bunch of bad things you shouldn't have. And now this, and it's, man, all you do is bad things. I mean, like the $100,000 accident reconstruction thing, that's pretty cold-blooded. That's a pretty cold-blooded attorney that will lie to the point of stealing $100,000 for something that never happened. The other thing to look at is who were his victims. Okay, so before, his victims were people he knew, other lawyers. Now it's the random person that hired him for, because they couldn't afford any other lawyer, so they had to take it. So they had to find a lawyer that would do it on contingency fee. Those are people that really need and are truly relying on their counsel to lead them well. I'm guessing a judge is probably not going to give bond at this point.
So we also know that there's this pending writ of habeas corpus, which was filed by Alec's attorneys saying that it wasn't fair that he was denied bond 2 times by Judge Newman. So could you kind of explain for our listeners what exactly a writ of habeas corpus is?
It's Latin for produce the body. And so it is a expedited motion that you file with the highest court to say, we need immediate action. The most dire of things, produce the body, make it come forth. It's an atypical motion in litigation, but it's the most serious action of them all.
So what you think they were saying is that Alec not receiving bond was a violation of his constitutional rights?
Yes.
Okay.
If you put on the blindfold of justice and it wasn't Alex Murdaugh, anybody else would have gotten bond. But because it was him, he didn't get bond. And that's the basis of this, of their argument.
Okay, I want to talk about the details that the Island Packet had on Murdoch's mental health treatment. This was the part of the bond fight, was Murdoch's mental state and whether or not he's a danger to himself or others. In a footnote in the filing, Murdoch's lawyers described the treatment he was receiving before being arrested, which is the first time we've really heard details. It says, quote, Mr. Murdoch had completed a phase of treatment in Florida and was proceeding immediately to Massachusetts to continue his treatment when he was arrested on the charges for which he was denied bond. It is richly ironic the state would remove him from a mental health treatment facility and then argue his need for mental health treatment is sufficient cause to deny his constitutional right to reasonable bond. So they're saying, hey, you said he needs mental health treatment, but you took him out of mental health treatment to put him in jail, right? That's what they're saying. Am I correct, John?
That's exactly right. And again, great lawyers making a great argument, which is, dear judge, he's a danger. He needs help. Lawyer responds, hey, judge, he was getting help. They took him out.
Yeah.
And the very relief that you're arguing the state must obtain, he was in the process of getting, and therefore your motion should be nullified. Yeah, you guys should lose your argument.
All right, take a break for a moment. Talk about a new concept in glasses, sunglasses, contact lenses, and eye exams. I'm talking about Warby Parker. I've been using them even before they signed on with us. Love the free home try-on program. It's awesome.
Yes, this is the first time I've tried Warby Parker, and you get to order 5 pairs of glasses, try them for free for 5 days, and there's no obligation to buy. They ship for free, including a prepaid return shipping label. Yes, and I took the quiz, and I found out I needed wide. They have everything from extra narrow to extra wide.
Yes, and the quiz helps you, and the selection, amazing. When I show people the Warby Parker app that allows you to do a virtual try-on, they're blown away. Remember, don't let your FSA and HSA dollars go to waste. Put them to good use in Warby Parker prescription glasses, prescription sunglasses, contact lenses, and eye exams.
Glasses start at $95, including prescription lenses.
Warby Parker is committed to providing exceptional vision care online and in stores. Try 5 pair of glasses at home for free at warbyparker.com/Murdoch. That's warbyparker.com/Murdoch, MURDAUGH.
Some coffee's fast, but not fresh. Some coffee's fresh, but only after a long wait. Speedway coffee is made fresh at the push of a button, hot or iced, so you can have fresh coffee your way, right away. Find a store near you at speedway.com/locations.
Dr. Donna Maddox, psychiatrist, evaluated Murdoch, diagnosed him with, quote, severe opioid disorder, according to Murdoch's petition with Habeas Corpus. And Dr. Maddox did not find that Murdoch is a danger to himself or to the community, the petition said. However, Judge Newman considered Maddox's evaluation and denying Murdoch bond on November 9th. And so that's where we stand on that. Now we move on to the happenings with Bank of America. Attorneys for the Satterfield family, our boy Eric Bland Richter, have added BOA to the lawsuit that previously was just Alec Murdoch. And they say, Bland Richter say, that Bank of America acted as Alec Murdoch's, quote, bank of fraud in big bold letters. It details how Cousin Eddie, who is Eddie Smith, who was involved in the botched suicide for pay, or however you want to refer to it, that happened back on Labor Day weekend with Alec. So Cousin Eddie, who says he doesn't know Alec says he knows him, but they're not tight. He never received money from him. Now there is 17 cashier's checks totaling about $165,000 and another $250 for personal checks to Cousin Eddie, totaling almost $2 million, $1.8 million. We knew about the 155 or 165, but now we're getting into the millions. Cousin Eddie has said in the past, his attorneys have said that he did not receive any money ever. He was not selling drugs. There was no drug connection, blah, blah, blah. And now we got big time money. And Seaton, what have you heard about that?
Well, we know that there was a lawsuit filed against Cousin Eddie later in the week after Bank of America was named, but let's get to that in a minute. I think we should talk about Bank of America first. Another thing I noticed they said in the complaint was that Bank of America failed to terminate Alec Murdoch as a customer after all of this information was exposed. So I'd love to talk to somebody in banking to see how you would terminate a customer's account. I'm sure there's some sort of rules. Bland says that Bank of America is nothing more than a high-tech laundromat.
Man's good with his quotes.
Yes.
You cannot ever question Eric Bland in the quotes. The complaint alleges that BOA is required to have, quote, anti-money laundering policies and procedures in order to assist in complying with such laws as the U.S. Patriot Act. Any thoughts on all of that, John Snyder?
I find Bank of America to be one of the most cautious banks out there. And part of that's their size. Part of that's they are, the country's, largest or second largest, depending on the month. And they are under massive regulator scrutiny. My issue with Bank of America is limited. Murdaugh is he's opened an account under his own Social Security number. He's provided a doing business as, and checks are coming in to the name of that business. And there would be no reason to question that, especially if he's regularly holding high balances in there. There's not any, chargebacks. don't work for a bank, so I don't know for sure, but I wouldn't see anything unusual about this account. And then the idea that they should like immediately cancel the account based on the allegations, you always want to go after the deep pockets, and a bank generally has deep pockets.
I believe that they were in negotiations, they were in mediation, and then that fell apart, and then it went to court. So
right, and the lawsuit's asking for the $4.3 million in damages, and they also are asking for punitive damages to impress upon BOA the seriousness of their conduct and to deter such similar conduct in the future.
A few things that jump out. Most of the checks were kept under 10 grand. That's the magical number that a red flag pops up.
And I also noticed that back in March of 2021, which was just 3 months before Maggie Murdoch was found dead in her home, that she did endorse a check for $839.50. So I think they're saying, she was not a person on this account, so she should not have been allowed to endorse the check.
And 3 months later, she's murdered. But we also don't know at this point. We know Alec is not above forging signatures, I would imagine. So could we swear that was her signature?
Yeah, look,
right?
So
I don't know.
How does Bank of America respond?
Bill Holden, bank spokesman. There's no basis for this lawsuit. We are asking the court to dismiss it. Make no mistake, the wrongdoer here was Mr. Murdoch, and the diversion of these funds occurred away from Bank of America. We had no knowledge of any theft and followed standard procedures and account openings for a sole proprietor business. So again, money can flow in and out. When he put it in a proprietor business, which I think is probably important because it wasn't an individual account. It's a business account. So it's not as likely, I would imagine, to see money going in.
But I guess he opened the account with a social security number and not a tax ID number. So, John, what are your thoughts about that?
That is a standard procedure for a sole proprietor. You use your social security number. You give them the name of your company. You take and register that doing business as with, in North Carolina, it's the Register of Deeds. South Carolina may have somebody different that you do it with. And you can go out and be, Jimmy's driving school for the blind. And it can be under your social security number, and you can accept, checks written to Jimmy's driving school. And so Alex has opened up an account using a business name, provided the information to the bank. If they said, what type of business is it? He might have said, legal business.
Well, we know he did set up 2 accounts, one under the forged name, one in 2015 and one in 2018. And there was a lot of money going in and out.
But again, if you have a business and they know, and let's say you're at a branch where they know the Murdoch name or the forged name, that's money goes in and out, right?
Yeah.
The checks are being written from, the deposits are coming from accounts that are, also probably with a national bank or a well-known and established bank in the community. So there's no, if you got a $100,000 check from their law firm, you wouldn't have any reason to question that because it's from a trust account check.
All right, let's talk cousin Eddie Smith, who was involved, as I said, in the Labor Day suicide for hire fail, depending on whose side you're talking to about what happened there. But the Satterfield estate filed a claim against cousin Eddie, claiming he may have received as much as $2 million from the $3.4 million settlement in the claim that came from Alex homeowners insurance. And the new lawsuit seeks to get any property in possession of Smith that was obtained by Satterfield money. And you see where they showed Smith lived, and you see Eddie Smith. It certainly doesn't look like he's living high on the hog.
No,
he's not looking like a millionaire.
He does
where
not.
He lives.
They also want to explore Smith's role in aiding and abetting Alec. So it seems that he did have some sort of role, but yeah, he did not seem like he was living high on the hog.
And maybe Alec was using his name. We don't know, right? In the press release by Bland Richter, they question, where's the money? That is the big question, right?
Definitely. And yeah, I think that's going to give us lots of answers to a lot of different aspects of the Murdoch situation. Where is the money?
From day one, this has been a money thing. Follow that money. Find that money. It's usually when you are hiding money, it's not going to a nice charity somewhere. You're not helping out the kids.
Yeah, so the attorneys for Mr. Smith gave a quote to Fitz News and basically said that their client was not the beneficiary of anywhere near $2 million, and questions of how any financial or legal document created or endorsed by Alec Murdoch could be trusted.
There you go. But I noticed they say anywhere near $2 million. Not ruling out that there wasn't a bunch. There
could have been some.
Right. That changes everything.
So, John, do you think Cousin Eddie is in bigger trouble than Bank of America?
He would be a co-conspirator, and the question is whether he was a knowing co-conspirator. And what the question would be, what song is Eddie singing?
Yes, that's exactly what I was about to say.
Is he saying, hey, yes, Alex asked me to take these checks, and has some convoluted story. I mean, at this stage, with what we've learned over the last 6 months, I don't think there's anything Alex wouldn't do.
Right.
So, or wouldn't say. One of the old lines is, sometimes when you are trying the devil, you have to go hell to find your witnesses. Eddie may not be the cleanest guy in the world, but he may not be anywhere near what Alex is, and or what Harpootlian and Griffin want to paint him as.
Yeah, I would say that it would be very surprising if Eddie Smith is going to protect Alec Murdoch in any way. I just can't see that happening. Unless there's some very, very, very dark secrets, then maybe he holds on to him, but he's already thrown Alec under the bus. Yeah.
There's always the lingering question of the unresolved crime. But the flip side is also, to Eddie's lawyer's response is, hey, there's nothing stopping Alex from doing anything. So why wouldn't he sign somebody's name, go set up an account in Eddie's name?
Right. And Eddie never knows anything about it.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, if you lie to your dear friend about how much settlement check they got, you're certainly going to lie to a guy that has a reputation for drug use.
Anthony Cook, who was the boyfriend of Mallory Beach, has also filed a lawsuit against Parkers and Alec Murdoch in relation to the boating accident in which Mallory Beach died in February of 2019. In the complaint, it alleges that Alec should have known that his son was not fit to drive the boat. As we've heard before, it alleges that Paul used his brother's ID and his mother's credit card to purchase alcohol. It also says that Alec should have known his son's tendencies to consume alcohol to the point of intoxication. Also in this complaint, it talks about Parker's, the convenience store. In 2016, there was an incident in Hilton Head where a customer, not a Murdoch, just someone else, attempted to purchase alcohol without an ID. The customer was encouraged to go outside and find a person to purchase the alcohol for them, which was successful. And subsequently, the customer hit a tree and there were multiple fatalities involved.
They're saying it's not the first time that alcohol was purchased by someone who should not have had it. So they're going to paint some sort of history with the Parkers. And Alex should not have let his son drive the boat because Alex should have been aware that he was a heavy drinker and drove his boat while drunk before.
Right, just that he wasn't fit to drive. I've seen a lot of talk about how, culpability of other boaters, they were all drinking and that sort of thing. So I just thought that it would be good to do a recap of comparative negligence for our listeners.
Okay. Comparative negligence is a South Carolina distinctive where, and other states do it as well, but where it looks at the action of each person involved in a tort, which is a lawsuit, and whatever their amount of responsibility is, that's how the judgment would get apportioned. So you've been picked up in a boat where you've just left Sunday school and you've done nothing wrong, and your boat driver has been hitting the fireball and one of those hard spritzers pretty hard the last 12 hours. Okay. In that case, you would have 100% civil liability on behalf of the of the White Claw Fireball, and you'd have 0 on the victim of the crash. In the boating accident, in this case, you have a completely obliterated, tore up from the floor up boat driver, but you have other people in the boat that are also drinking. And so a jury at trial may say, hey, Paul was 70% at fault and you all were 30% at fault. So if you were seeking $1 million, the most you could get would be $700,000 versus North Carolina, which has a strict liability that if you are at all liable, even if you're riding in the car, you get no recovery. So there's 0 recovery if you're at fault in any manner as the victim. Now, what makes South Carolina interesting is it's not a zero-sum game in their personal injury cases, which is why Murdaugh and all these other guys do these kind of cases, because even if your client was like, he had drank a lot and he's only 40% at fault, there's still 10%, there's still $100,000 that could be recovered in a lawsuit.
I see. Okay.
Better to be a litigator in South Carolina than North Carolina, I'm thinking.
1,000 times over, yes.
John, thank you. John Snyder, legal analyst, with us again. Have a good holiday. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys.
See you, John.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
And that wraps up another episode. I believe we're hoping to have an expert on money laundering coming up soon in an upcoming episode. Also, a reminder, the Oxygen special that runs on, what is the date again? The 12th. Is that right? Yeah, the 12th. 8 o'clock, 2-hour Oxygen special about the Murdoch case with Seton Tucker and Matt Harris on it. And Seton, you always roll your eyes when I mention it. You're going to be great. You're going to look great. Also, Murdoch Podcast, Facebook page, and murdochpodcast.com. Thank you so much. We're always so grateful for anybody that listens. We love when you give us responses and critiques. We take it. We take it on, and we try to get better every time. And we will talk to you soon.
Hear that? Is that America cheering or a sausage patty sizzling to perfection? It's time to cheer for Egg McMuffin and fresh cracked eggs at McDonald's. It's time to wake up to the aroma of freshly baked biscuits and treat yourself to a real honest-to-goodness morning meal. Breakfast, it's on at McDonald's. Now get any breakfast sandwich for just $2. Available only through the app. Mobile order and pay available at participating McDonald's. McD app download and registration required.
Now is the best time to start working at Amazon. They are offering sign-on bonuses up to $3,000 and hourly pay up to $22 per hour. You'll bring home a great weekly paycheck, and many jobs come with benefits that start on your first day. That's higher pay, sign-on bonuses, benefits day one. And you'll be part of a safe and inclusive workplace ranked among the best in the world. Go to amazon.com/apply to start your job search today. Amazon is proud to be an equal opportunity employer.